She grabbed a stranger's arm at a bar to hide from her ex, pretending they were together. He played along instantly, his touch confident and dangerous. What she didn't know, the man she'd just kissed was a ruthless mafia boss, and now she was tangled in his world. The bass pounded through Lena's chest as she pushed through the Friday night crowd at Skyline Bar. Her friends were somewhere near the back, celebrating her promotion with overpriced cocktails and terrible karaoke. She should have been happy. Marketing director at 27. Her mom would cry when she called tomorrow. But right now, all Lena felt was the floor dropping out beneath her feet. Marcus. Her ex-boyfriend stood by the entrance, laughing with his finance bro friends, their loud voices cutting through the music. For months. She'd blocked him 4 months ago after he'd shown up at her gym, her office, her favorite coffee shop, always with that same innocent smile, always claiming it was just a coincidence. The restraining order paperwork was still sitting on her kitchen counter, unsigned. She told herself she was being dramatic. Now, watching him scan the room like he owned it, she wished she'd filed it yesterday. Move. Just move. Lena turned quickly, her heel catching on the sticky floor, and grabbed the first solid thing she could find, a man's arm. "I'm so sorry," she gasped, pressing herself against his side. "Please, I need you to pretend you know me. My ex just walked in, and I can't." The words died in her throat. The man looked down at her with eyes like black ice, sharp, calculating, and completely unreadable. He was tall, maybe 6'2", with dark hair swept back from a face that belonged on a cologne ad. The kind of handsome that felt dangerous. His suit probably cost more than her car. "How long?" His voice was low and accented. Italian, smooth as expensive whiskey. "What? How long do you need me to be your boyfriend?" He said it like he was asking about the weather, his hand already settling on her waist with practiced ease. Lena's brain short-circuited. "Just until he leaves. Please. I'll buy you a drink, He's looking this way. She glanced over. Marcus had spotted her. His smile froze, then twisted into something ugly. "Kiss me," the stranger said calmly. "What? You want him to believe it?" His other hand came up to cup her jaw, tilting her face toward his. "Then sell it, Bella." Lena had maybe half a second to decide. Marcus was already pushing through the crowd, his expression darkening. She could see it playing out, the confrontation, the scene, her friends getting involved, Marcus playing the victim like he always did. She closed her eyes and kissed the stranger. His mouth was warm and demanding, nothing tentative about it. He kissed her like he'd done it 1,000 times before, like he knew exactly how to make her knees weak. His hand slid into her hair, fingers tangling at the base of her skull, and Lena forgot where she was. Forgot Marcus. Forgot her own name. When he pulled back, his eyes held something new. Interest, maybe, or calculation. "Breathe," he murmured. She realized she'd been holding her breath. "Lena?" Marcus's voice cracked like a whip. Lena turned, keeping the stranger's arm around her, and forced a smile. "Marcus." "Eat." Her ex looked between them, his jaw working. "What the hell is this?" "This is," she faltered, realizing she didn't even know the man's name. Dante Rossetti, the stranger. Dante extended his free hand with casual authority. His accent made the name sound like music. "And you are?" Marcus ignored the handshake, staring at Lena. "You're dating someone? Since when?" "Since none of your business," Lena said, finding her spine. "We broke up, Marcus. 4 months ago. You blocked me. Because you wouldn't leave me alone." Her fingers dug into Dante's suit jacket. "Showing up everywhere I went. A calling from different numbers. That's not normal, Marcus. That's stalking." "Stalking?" Marcus's laugh was sharp and bitter. "I was trying to fix things. You just threw away 3 years like it meant nothing." "It meant everything. That's why I left." Lena felt Dante's hand tighten slightly on her waist, supportive, not controlling. It felt nothing like Marcus's touch. "You made me feel small. Like I was never enough." "That's bullshit." Watch your mouth. Dante's voice dropped into something cold and final. The temperature around them seemed to plummet. The lady asked you to leave her alone. Multiple times, from what I understand. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to walk away, delete her number, and forget she exists. Understand? Several people nearby had stopped talking. Lena felt the weight of their attention, but it was nothing compared to the pressure radiating from Dante. He stood perfectly still, but somehow commanded the entire space. Marcus's face went red. Who the fuck do you think you are? Someone you don't want to meet twice. Dante's smile didn't reach his eyes. Go home, friend. While you still can. The threat hung in the air like smoke. Marcus looked at Dante, really looked at him, and something in his expression changed. Fear flickered across his features before he could hide it. This isn't over, Lena. Marcus spat, already backing away. Actually, Dante said softly, it is. The way he said it made it sound like a tombstone inscription. Marcus turned and shoved through the crowd. Lena watched him disappear down the stairs, her heart hammering so hard she thought it might crack a rib. Oh my God, she whispered. Thank you. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to drag you into. Did he ever hit you? Dante's gaze was still on the stairway, tracking something Lena couldn't see.
No.
Nothing like that. He was just controlling, manipulative. It took me too long to realize. Men like that escalate. Dante finally looked down at her. You should file that restraining order. Lena froze. How did you? You mentioned paperwork on your counter. Just now, his expression didn't change. You should be more careful what you say to strangers, Bella. But she hadn't mentioned that. She was sure of it. Who are you? Lena asked slowly, her instincts screaming that something was very wrong here. Dante released her waist and straightened his cuffs. Someone who appreciates good timing. Your friends are worried about you. She glanced back. Her best friend Jenna was indeed staring from across the bar, phone in hand like she was ready to call 911.
Right.
I should. Lena started to step away, but Dante caught her wrist gently. If he contacts you again, call me. He pressed something into her palm, a business card, heavy stock, embossed lettering. Just a name and phone number. No company. No title. I don't understand, Lena said. Why would you? Because men like your ex don't stop when you ask nicely. Dante's thumb brushed across her racing pulse once before he let go. And because you chose well tonight, even if you don't know it yet. Chose what? The right stranger to grab. He smiled, actually smiled, and it transformed his entire face for just a second. Then it was gone. Good night, Lena Martinez. He walked away before she could ask how he knew her full name. As he moved through the crowd, she noticed two things. The way people subtly cleared a path without seeming to, and the two large men in dark suits who materialized to follow him toward the exit. Lena looked down at the card in her hand. Dante Rossetti. Just the name and a phone number. The paper felt expensive, important.
Wrong.
She pulled out her phone and searched his name, her fingers clumsy with adrenaline. The results made her blood run cold. Rossetti crime family. Mafia. Organized crime. FBI investigation. And photos, dozens of photos, of the man who'd just kissed her like he meant it. Lena? Jenna appeared at her elbow, grabbing her arm. Who the hell was that? Are you okay? Was that Marcus? Who was the guy you were? I need to go home, Lena whispered. She made it to the street before her hands started shaking. And she definitely didn't look back to see the black Mercedes SUV idling at the curb, or the dark-haired man watching her from the back seat with eyes that missed nothing. The subway ride home felt like it lasted hours. Lena clutched her purse, the business card burning a hole in her pocket. Every time the train stopped, she checked the platform. Looking for Marcus. Looking for men in dark suits. Looking for trouble she'd accidentally invited into her life.
Dante Rossetti.
Actual mafia boss. And I kissed him. Her apartment building looked the same as always. Old brick, flickering hallway lights, Mrs. Chen's cat watching from the second-floor window. Normal. Safe. Lena took the stairs two at a time anyway, fumbling with her keys until she was inside with the deadbolt thrown. She should have felt better. She didn't. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. You made it home. Good. Sleep well, Lena. No signature needed. She knew exactly who it was. Lena blocked the number with shaking hands, then searched Dante Rossetti again. This time, she read every article. The Rossetti family controlled most of the waterfront. Shipping, construction, garbage collection, legal fronts for everything illegal underneath. Dante's father, Antonio, had run it for 30 years before dying of a heart attack 2 years ago. Now Dante held the reins, and, according to the FBI, he was smarter and more dangerous than his father ever was. And he thinks I'm some kind of spy. The memory of his question in the bar replayed. Did he ever hit you?
No.
Not that. Something earlier, quieter. The way he'd looked at her when she grabbed his arm, not surprised, but ready. Like he'd been expecting something. Lena's stomach twisted. Had she really just randomly chosen him? Or had her subconscious recognized danger and latched onto something even more dangerous? She didn't sleep that night. Monday morning came too fast. Lena dragged herself to work at Riverside Media, mainlining coffee and avoiding mirrors. The office buzzed with the usual chaos, account managers shouting about deadlines, interns running between cubicles, her boss Daniel already stressed at 9 a.m. There she is. Daniel grinned, waving her into his office. Our new marketing director. How was the celebration?
Fine, Lena lead. Great.
Thank you again for the opportunity. You earned it. Now, about the Henderson account. Her phone buzzed. She glanced down. Marcus, we need to talk. I'm sorry about Friday. I was just shocked. Can we meet for coffee? Lena's jaw tightened. She'd forgotten she'd unblocked him months ago during a moment of weakness. Lena? Daniel was watching her. You okay?
Yeah, sorry.
Just another buzz. Marcus, I know you're reading these.
Don't ignore me.
Marcus, who was that guy? Are you really dating him, or were you just trying to hurt me? Marcus, Lena, answer me. Excuse me, she muttered, stepping into the hallway. She blocked Marcus again, her hands trembling with anger. 3 years of this. 3 years of walking on eggshells, justifying every friendship, every late night at work. She'd thought leaving would be enough. The phone rang. Different number. Ms. Martinez? A woman's voice, professional and cold. This is Rebecca from Horizon Consulting. We have Marcus Sterling here asking us to relay a message since you've blocked his personal number. He'd like to. Lena hung up.
Jesus Christ.
He was using his work contacts now. She made it through the morning in a fog, jumping every time someone approached her desk. At lunch, she walked to the Thai place on Morrison Avenue, her usual Wednesday spot, but she needed comfort food. And froze on the sidewalk. A black Mercedes SUV was parked across the street. Tinted windows. Engine running. Lena's pulse skyrocketed. She pulled out her phone, pulled up Dante's blocked number and unblocked it. Leave me alone. I'm not whatever you think I am. Stop following me. The response came in seconds. Not me following you, Bella. Look left. She turned her head. Marcus sat in a coffee shop window 2 doors down, staring directly at her. When their eyes met, he raised his cup in a mock toast. Lena's blood went cold. How long has he been there? Another text from Dante. Go inside the restaurant. Order your usual. Pad Thai, extra lime, spring rolls. My associate will handle the problem. How do you know my order? I told you. I pay attention. Lena wanted to scream. Instead, she walked into the Thai place on numb legs, ordered exactly what Dante had described, and sat in the corner booth, where she could see the street. Marcus was still there, watching the restaurant entrance. Then one of the men from Friday night, the ones in suits who'd followed Dante, crossed the street. He didn't enter the coffee shop. Just stood outside, making a phone call. Casual. Unthreatening. But Marcus saw him. Lena watched the color drain from her ex's face. He stood abruptly, nearly knocking over his chair, and rushed toward the back of the shop. The suited man didn't follow. Just finished his call, nodded once toward the Mercedes, and walked away. Marcus was gone. The SUV pulled smoothly into traffic and disappeared. Lena's food arrived. She couldn't taste it.
Her phone buzzed again.
Dante, he won't bother you at work anymore. But we need to talk.
Tonight.
I'll send a car at 7. Lena, I'm not getting in a car with your people. Dante, then he'll come back tomorrow. And the next day. And eventually he'll do more than watch. Your choice. Lena stared at the message, her appetite completely gone. She was trapped between two different types of dangerous men. And she was starting to realize that Marcus, manipulative, obsessive Marcus, was actually the less terrifying option. At 6:55 p.m., she stepped outside her office building. The black Mercedes was already waiting. The driver didn't speak. He opened the door, waited for Lena to slide into the leather interior, then drove in complete silence through downtown traffic. She kept her purse clutched in her lap, phone unlocked with 911 ready to dial. Not that it would help if Dante Rossetti actually wanted to hurt her. They didn't go to a warehouse or some shadowy back alley like she'd feared. Instead, the Mercedes pulled up to Central, one of the most exclusive Italian restaurants in the city. The kind of place where reservations took months. Dante waited outside, leaning against the brick wall in a charcoal suit, checking his phone. When he saw her, he pocketed it and opened her door himself. "You came," he said simply. "You didn't give me much choice." Lena stepped out, keeping distance between them. "What do you want?"
Dinner.
And answers, he gestured to the entrance. "After you." The interior was all warm lighting and quiet conversations, the scent of garlic and wine hanging in the air. The hostess took one look at Dante and immediately led them to a private corner table, away from other diners. "Your usual, Mr. Rossetti?"
Please.
"And the lady will have," he looked at Lena. "What would you like?" "To know why I'm here," Lena said flatly. The hostess retreated quickly. Smart woman. Dante settled into his chair with the easy confidence of someone who owned the room. Maybe he did. Lena wouldn't be surprised if he owned the whole building. "Marcus Sterling," Dante said without preamble. "Works at Apex Financial. Drives a leased BMW. Cheated on you twice that you know about, probably more that you don't. His college roommate filed a harassment complaint against him in 2019. The girl before you had to change her number 3 times. Lena's stomach dropped. "How do you?" "I make it my business to know things." Dante's expression was unreadable. "Especially when someone from my world suddenly appears in a stranger's life. I'm not from your world. I'm a marketing director who made a stupid mistake on Friday night." Maybe he leaned forward slightly. "Or maybe someone told you exactly where I'd be."
Exactly when.
"Maybe grabbing my arm wasn't panic, it was strategy." "You're insane." "I'm careful," his voice hardened. 3 months ago, the Vitali family tried to plant an informant in my organization. Pretty girl, wrong place at the right time. Very convincing damsel in distress story. 2 weeks later, she was wearing a wire to one of my business meetings. And what happened to her? Lena asked before she could stop herself. "She's in witness protection now. Comfortable, alive, and far away from New York." Dante's eyes never left hers. "I'm not a monster, Bella. But I'm not stupid either." A waiter appeared with wine, red, expensive looking. Lena didn't touch hers. "I grabbed you because you looked like someone Marcus wouldn't mess with," she said carefully. "I didn't know who you were. I didn't even know your name until you said it. Yet you found articles about me within minutes, because you acted strange. The way you talked, the cars, the bodyguards." Lena's voice rose before she caught herself. "I'm not a spy. I'm just someone who stayed too long in a bad relationship and is now paying for it." Dante studied her face in that unnerving way of his, like he was reading a book written in her expressions. Finally, he sat back. All right. I believe you," he sipped his wine. For now. Lena's laugh was brittle. What does that mean? You're going to keep following me? Keep sending your guys to scare Marcus? Keep showing up everywhere I go like some kind of… Yes. The simple words stopped her cold. Marcus saw us together. Dante continued calmly. He'll tell people, friends, co-workers, probably his therapist. Some of those people have connections to families who'd very much like to see me weakened. And a girlfriend is a weakness, Lena. Even a fake 1 inch. Then tell them it was fake. I could, he swirled his wine thoughtfully. But Marcus is escalating. You saw him today, following you during work hours, using third parties to contact you. Men like him don't stop until someone makes them stop. Or until something worse happens. Lena's throat tightened. She'd read the statistics. Knew that the most dangerous time for a woman leaving an abusive relationship was right after she left. So, what are you suggesting? She asked quietly. Let me protect you. Publicly, we're dating. My people watch your apartment, your office. Marcus backs off because he thinks you're under my protection. After a few months, when things cool down, we have a quiet breakup. You go back to your normal life. Everyone wins. Except I'd be lying to everyone I know. Living a fake relationship with a… She stopped herself. Criminal? Dante supplied helpfully. Mobster? Gangster? I've heard them all, Bella. How is this better than just getting a restraining order? Because paper doesn't stop bullets. The words hung between them like ice. Marcus isn't violent, Lena protested weakly. Not yet, Dante's expression went dark. But 6 months from now, when the order expires and you've let your guard down, when he sees you at a bar with someone new and has 3 drinks in him, statistics say that's when things go wrong. God, she hated that he was right. I need to think about it, Lena said. Of course, Dante signaled for the check. But while you're thinking, understand this. I'm watching you regardless. Whether you agree to my help or not. Because if you're working for someone, I need to know.
And if you're not, he paused.
Then you walked into something dangerous on Friday, and I don't leave civilians in the crossfire. The driver took her home in silence. Lena trudged upstairs, exhausted and confused. Her phone buzzed as she unlocked her door. Marcus, I saw you get into that car. What the hell are you involved in?
Call me. Now.
Then, seconds later, from Dante, he's outside your building. 3rd floor of the parking garage across the street. My men are watching him. Say the word, and he disappears. Lena looked out her window. Sure enough, she could see a familiar BMW in the garage shadows. Her hands shook as she typed, "Don't hurt him. Just make him leave." Dante, always so merciful. It's going to get you killed one day, Bella. But 5 minutes later, Marcus's car screeched out of the garage and disappeared into the night. Lena locked every lock on her door and wondered what the hell she'd gotten herself into. The next 2 weeks felt like living in a fishbowl. Lena spotted Dante's men everywhere, leaning against buildings near her office, sitting in cafes she frequented, following her subway car at a distance. They never approached, never spoke, just watched. Marcus, mercifully, had gone silent. No calls.
No texts. No surprise appearances.
She should have felt relieved. Instead, she felt like a mouse being circled by 2 different cats. You're distracted, her friend Jenna said over lunch at their usual spot. Is it the promotion? Or is it mystery suit guy from the bar? Lena forced a smile. Just adjusting. New responsibilities. Jenna wasn't buying it.
You've checked the door 6 times since we sat down.
What's going on? Nothing. Her phone buzzed.
Dante,
don't go home tonight. Stay with your friend or get a hotel. I'll explain later. Lena's blood went cold.
Why?
What's happening? Dante, just trust me. Please. Lena? Jenna was staring at her. You look like you've seen a ghost. I might need to crash at your place tonight, Lena said quietly. Is that okay? Of course, but I'll explain later. I promise. Except she couldn't explain. How do you tell your best friend that you accidentally got tangled up with the mafia? That your ex might be dangerous? That you weren't sure which threat was real anymore. That night, lying on Jenna's pull-out couch, Lena finally got the explanation via text. Dante, Marcus filed a police report. Claims you're being coerced by dangerous individuals, says you're in an abusive relationship and too scared to ask for help. The detective assigned to the case has connections to the Salerno family, my rivals. They're using Marcus to build a case against me. Lena, that's insane. I'll tell them the truth. Dante, the truth is that you approached me, we kissed, and now my men follow you everywhere. How do you think that looks? He was right. From the outside, it looked exactly like what Marcus was claiming. Lena, so what do I do? Dante, stay away from your apartment. They'll try to catch you alone, get you to make a statement. My lawyer is handling it, but it'll take a few days. Lena, this is crazy. I didn't do anything wrong. Dante, welcome to my world, Bella. Innocence doesn't matter when someone wants to use you as a weapon. 3 days later, the police showed up at her office. Detective Sarah Chin was young, sharp-eyed, and clearly skeptical of everything Lena said. They sat in a windowless conference room while Sarah took notes on everything: how Lena met Dante, why she kissed him, what their relationship was now. And Mr. Rossetti's men follow you? Sarah asked. Everywhere you go. They're just around sometimes, Lena hedged. Lena, if you're in danger, we can help you. Witness protection, safe houses. I'm not in danger, not from Dante anyway. Marcus is my ex. He's obsessive. I think he's using this as an excuse to stay in my life. He seems genuinely concerned. He seems like a lot of things, Lena said sharply. Did he tell you about showing up at my work? Following me to restaurants? Using his colleagues to contact me after I blocked him? Sarah's expression flickered. He mentioned you blocked him, yes. Because he won't leave me alone. This isn't about protecting me. It's about controlling me. It's what he's always done. And Dante Rossetti? What does he get from this relationship? The question felt like a trap. Lena chose her words carefully. I don't know. Maybe he liked feeling like a hero. Maybe he was just in the right place at the right time. Men like Rossetti don't do anything without reason, Sarah said quietly. His organization is under federal investigation. The FBI would very much like to talk to anyone close to him. I'm not close to him. We barely know each other. Yet his men watch over you like your precious cargo, Sarah leaned forward. Here's what I think. I think you got caught up in something bigger than a bad breakup. I think Marcus saw something that scared him, and whatever his faults, his concern might be valid. Dante Rossetti is dangerous, Lena. His family has been connected to dozens of disappearances, extortion cases, murders. Good people who get close to him end up dead, or worse. He hasn't hurt me, Lena insisted. Yet, Sarah slid a business card across the table. When you're ready to tell the truth, the real truth, call me. We can protect you. After Sarah left, Lena sat in the empty conference room, staring at the card. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. This is Marco, Mr. Rossetti's associate. The detective who just interviewed you is Victor Salerno's niece. Everything you said was recorded and will be shared with his organization. We need to move you. Tonight. Lena's hands started shaking. Another text. There's a black sedan outside your building.
Red interior.
Driver's name is Gio. He'll take you somewhere safe. Lena, how do I know this is real? How do I know you're real? Marco, because Mr. Rossetti told me you'd ask that. He said to tell you. You bite your thumbnail when you're nervous. You're doing it right now. Lena looked down. Her thumb was pressed against her teeth. Marco, the Salernos think you're Dante's weakness. That makes you their target. Please trust us. She didn't have a choice anymore. At 8 p.m., Lena walked out of her office building and climbed into a black sedan with red leather seats. The driver, Gio, presumably, said nothing as they drove through the city, taking turns that seemed random until Lena realized they were checking for tails. They ended up at a brownstone in a neighborhood she didn't recognize. Expensive, quiet, secure. Dante was waiting at the door. I'm sorry, he said quietly. I try to keep you out of this. What's happening? Lena's voice cracked. Why do they think I'm… What did you tell them about me? Nothing. I've told them nothing, Dante's jaw tightened. But my second-in-command, Carlo, believes you're a spy. He's been feeding information to the Salernos behind my back. He thinks removing you will prove his loyalty to them when he betrays me. Betrays? You mean he's working with them? I suspected. Now I'm certain. Dante stepped aside, letting her enter. And that means both of us are in danger, Bella. Welcome to the safe house. You'll be staying here until I deal with the problem. The door closed behind her with a heavy, final sound. Lena was officially trapped in a mafia power struggle. And she had no idea how to get out. The safe house was beautiful in a cold, impersonal way. Marble floors, expensive furniture, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking a private garden. It felt more like a luxury hotel than a home. Lena stood in the entryway, still clutching her purse, trying to process everything. This is insane, she whispered. I should go to the police. The real police, not some detective working for your enemies. And tell them what? Dante closed the distance between them, his voice low. That you're caught between two crime families? That my lieutenant thinks you're a spy? They'll either think you're crazy or use you as bait. Either way, you end up dead. Maybe if I just disappeared, left the city, moved too. They'd find you in 48 hours, he said it with absolute certainty. The Salernos have reach everywhere. And Carlo has been feeding them information about my operations for weeks. If he thinks you matter to me, he'll tell them. And they'll use you to draw me out. But I don't matter to you, Lena said desperately. We barely know each other. Dante's expression shifted, something unreadable crossing his features. That's what I keep telling myself too. The words hung in the air between them. Lena's breath caught. Before she could respond, a woman appeared in the doorway, late 50s, gray hair pulled into a neat bun, kind eyes that didn't match the weapon holstered at her hip. Mr. Rossetti, I've prepared the guest room. Clothes, toiletries, everything she'll need. She turned to Lena with a warm smile.
I'm Maria.
I manage the house. You need anything, you ask me, yes? I need to leave, Lena said. Maria's smile didn't waver. Then you ask Mr. Rossetti. I just handle the cooking and cleaning. She disappeared back into the house, leaving them alone again. How long? Lena asked quietly. How long do I have to stay here? Until I identify everyone working with Carlo and eliminate the threat. Dante moved to the windows, checking the street with practiced efficiency. 3 days. Maybe 4-inch. I have a job. Friends who'll worry. A life. I know, his tone softened slightly. I've already called your office. You're taking emergency family leave. Your sister in Portland had complications with her pregnancy. Very convincing story, complete with hospital records if anyone checks. Lena's stomach turned. You forged medical records? I have people who specialize in documentation. He said it like he was discussing grocery shopping. Your friend Jenna received a text from your number saying you had to fly out urgently. She wished you safe travels. You hacked my phone. Cloned it. Temporarily, Dante finally turned to look at her. I told you, Lena, I'm careful. Every detail matters when people are trying to kill you. No one's trying to kill me, she protested.
I'm nobody.
I'm not important to any of this. Carlo thinks otherwise. Dante's jaw tightened. He saw us together at the restaurant.
Saw the way he stopped himself.
He reported to the Salernos that I've taken a civilian under protection. In our world, that means one of two things. Either you're valuable as an informant or you're valuable to me personally. Either way, you're a target. Because you decided to play bodyguard. Lena's voice rose. I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for any of this. I just wanted Marcus to leave me alone. And he has. By trapping me in a different cage. She threw her hands up. You're just like him, you know that? Controlling everything, making decisions for me, acting like you know what's best. I'm nothing like him. Dante's voice went ice cold. Marcus wanted to own you. I'm trying to keep you alive. There's a difference. Is there? Lena challenged. Because from where I'm standing, I'm still a prisoner. They stared at each other, tension crackling in the air. Fine, Dante pulled out his phone. I'll have Gio take you home. You can walk into your apartment, where Carlos' people are probably already waiting. You can tell them everything you know about me, which is nothing useful, but they'll spend hours making sure. Then, when they realize you're truly innocent, maybe they'll let you go. Or maybe they'll kill you anyway, just to send me a message. Your choice. Lena's defiance crumbled. You're lying. You're just trying to scare me. Am I? Dante pulled up something on his phone and turned it toward her. Security footage, grainy, but clear enough. Two men standing outside her apartment building. One of them held what looked like a surveillance photo of her. They've been there since this afternoon, Dante said quietly. Waiting. Lena's legs felt weak. She sank onto the nearest chair. This can't be happening. I just grabbed your arm. I just wanted one night without Marcus's drama. How did it turn into this? Bad luck, Dante pocketed his phone. Wrong place, wrong time, wrong man to kiss. Clearly. Something that might have been a smile flickered across his face. For what it's worth, I didn't want this either. I have enough problems without a civilian complicating things. How flattering. But he paused, choosing his words carefully. You handled yourself well with Detective Chin. Most people would have panicked, said too much. You were smart. Careful. That's rare. Is this supposed to make me feel better? It's supposed to make you understand that you're not helpless. You're stuck here, yes. But you're not weak. And I won't treat you like you are. Lena looked up at him. This dangerous, complicated man who'd somehow become the only thing standing between her and worse danger. I want to call my sister. The real one. She'll worry if she doesn't hear from me. No calls. They can be traced. Dante's expression softened slightly. But you can write her an email from a secure server. Tell her you're fine. You just need a few days away. Maria will show you how. It wasn't enough, but it was something. 3 days, Lena said firmly. You have 3 days to fix this, and then I'm leaving. I don't care what's waiting out there. Understood. Dante moved toward the door, then paused. For what it's worth, Lena, I am sorry. You deserved better than this. He left before she could respond. Lena sat in the beautiful, empty room and tried not to think about how her life had completely derailed in less than 2 weeks. But mostly, she tried not to think about the way her heart had jumped when Dante said he was trying to keep her alive. Like maybe somewhere underneath the fear and anger, she actually believed he meant it. Day 1 in the safe house felt like a prison sentence. Lena paced the guest room, stared at the garden, and answered exactly one email from her sister with vague reassurances. Sophia wrote back immediately with questions Lena couldn't answer. She closed the laptop before guilt could swallow her whole. Maria brought meals, real Italian food, homemade and delicious. Lena barely tasted any of it. Dante was gone most of the day, returning late with tension carved into his shoulders. They didn't speak beyond necessary pleasantries. Day 2 was worse. The walls felt closer. Lena found herself listening for sounds, footsteps, cars, anything that suggested the outside world still existed. She ventured downstairs and found a library, books in Italian and English lining the walls. She pulled down a mystery novel and couldn't focus past the first page. You're driving yourself crazy, Maria observed, appearing with tea. You should go outside. The garden is private. Safe. Is anywhere actually safe? Lena asked bitterly. Maria's smile was sad. In this life?
No.
But some places are safer than others. That evening, Dante found Lena in the library, curled in a chair by the window as the sun set. He'd loosened his tie, and for the first time, he looked almost tired. Any progress? She asked without looking up from the book she wasn't reading. Some. He poured himself a drink from the bar cart. Whiskey neat. Carlo's been sloppy. We've identified 3 others working with him. The Salernos are planning something, but we don't know what yet. And me? Still bait. Still a complication they want to eliminate. He took a long drink. But my people are good at what they do. We'll handle it. You keep saying we like I'm part of this. Aren't you? Dante studied her over the rim of his glass. The moment you grabbed my arm, you became part of this. Whether either of us wanted it or not. Lena finally looked at him, really looked. Beneath the control and authority, she saw something else. Exhaustion. Maybe even regret. Do you ever wish you could just walk away? She asked quietly. From all of this. Every day, the admission seemed to surprise him as much as it surprised her. But this life doesn't let you walk away, Lena. It's a cage made of loyalty and blood. Once you're in, the only way out is a coffin. That's bleak. That's reality. He set down his glass. My father built this empire. My grandfather before him. I inherited a legacy I never asked for, and people depend on me. Not just my family, but hundreds of people whose livelihoods exist because we provide protection, work, security. If I walk away, they're vulnerable. So I stay. It was the most honest thing he'd said to her. Lena felt something shift in her chest, not quite sympathy, but understanding. I'm sorry, she said, that you're trapped too. We all make our choices. Dante's expression hardened again, the vulnerability disappearing. I chose this life, even if I inherited it. You, though, you were just unlucky. Before Lena could respond, his phone buzzed. Then again. And again. Dante's face went cold as stone. Get upstairs.
Now.
What? Now, Lena. He was already moving, pulling a weapon from inside his jacket. Maria. The older woman appeared instantly, her own gun drawn. How many? 4 cars. Maybe 12 men. Salerno's people. Dante grabbed Lena's arm, pulling her toward the stairs. They found us faster than I expected. Terror shot through Lena's veins.
How?
You said this place was safe. Carlo must have given them more than I thought. They reached the 2nd floor. Dante pushed her into what looked like a study. There's a panic room behind the bookshelf. 2nd shelf from the left. Pull the red book. Get inside, and don't come out until I come for you. What if you don't? I will. His eyes met hers, fierce and certain. I promise. But if someone else tries to open it, there's a gun in the drawer marked supplies. You know how to shoot? No. Safety's the switch on the side. Point and pull the trigger. Aim for center mass. He was already backing toward the door. Stay quiet. Stay hidden. Dante, wait. Glass shattered downstairs. Shouting. The sharp crack of gunfire. Go. Dante disappeared into the hallway. Lena's hands shook as she found the red book, a copy of the Divine Comedy, appropriately, and pulled. The bookshelf swung inward, revealing a small room with monitors showing various angles of the house. She could see figures in black moving through the 1st floor, weapons raised. Maria fired from behind the kitchen counter, dropping one man before ducking as return fire shredded the cabinets. Dante moved through the chaos like a dancer, fluid, precise, deadly. He fired twice, and 2 men went down. But more kept coming. Lena wanted to look away. Couldn't. On one monitor, she saw a man split from the group and head for the stairs. He moved with purpose, like he knew exactly where he was going.
Carlo.
It had to be. Coming for her specifically. She scrambled to the drawer marked supplies. Found the gun, heavier than she expected, cold and terrifying in her hands. Her fingers fumbled for the safety. The footsteps reached the 2nd floor. Moving closer. I know you're up here, Miss Martinez, a voice called out. Italian accent, pleasant tone. Completely at odds with the violence happening below. Mr. Rossetti can't protect you forever. Why don't you make this easy? Come out, answer a few questions. If you cooperate, you walk away. You have my word. Lena pressed herself against the wall of the panic room, gun raised with both hands like she'd seen in movies. Her entire body trembled. The footsteps stopped outside the study. Or we can do this the hard way, Carlo continued. Burn the house down. Wait for you to run out. Either way, we're patient. The door to the study burst open. Lena watched through the crack in the bookshelf as Carlo entered, middle-aged, expensive suit, gun held professionally. He looked like someone's accountant, not a killer. He walked straight toward the bookshelf. Lena's finger tightened on the trigger. Center mass. Like Dante said. Point and pull. Carlo reached for the red book.
Carlo.
Dante's voice echoed from the hallway. Step away from that shelf, or I put 3 rounds in your spine.
Carlo Frose.
Slowly turned. Dante stood in the doorway, gun aimed steadily at his lieutenant. Blood streaked his collar, but his hands were rock steady. It's over, Dante said quietly. Your men are dead or running. The Salernos aren't coming. It's just you and me now. Then pull the trigger, Carlo challenged. But you won't. You're weak, Dante. Your father would have burned anyone who threatened the family. But you? You protect civilians. You hesitate. That's why you'll lose eventually. Maybe, Dante agreed. But not today. He fired. Carlo dropped. The silence that followed was deafening. Lena, Dante called softly. It's safe. Come out. Lena's legs wouldn't move. She stood frozen in the panic room, gun still raised, staring at Carlo's body. Bella, Dante's voice gentled. Look at me. Not him. Me. She forced her eyes up. Dante stood in the doorway, weapon lowered, expression carefully controlled. It's over, he said again. You're safe. Lena finally lowered the gun. Her hands were shaking so badly, she nearly dropped it. Dante crossed to her in 3 strides and took the weapon, engaging the safety and setting it aside. Then his hands cupped her face, forcing her to meet his eyes. Breathe, he ordered. You're in shock. Breathe. She sucked in air, suddenly aware that she'd been holding her breath. I almost shot him, she whispered. I was going to if you hadn't. But you didn't. You're okay. His thumbs brushed her cheekbones, and she realized she was crying. You did exactly what I told you. You stayed hidden. You stayed safe. People died. Downstairs, I saw. Don't think about that, Dante's voice was firm. Think about the fact that you're alive. That's what matters. Lena wanted to argue, wanted to scream. Instead, she collapsed against his chest and let herself shake. Dante's arms came around her, solid and warm. For a moment, he just held her. Welcome to my world, he murmured against her hair. Still think we're the same? Your ex and I. Lena pulled back just enough to look at him. No, she admitted. Marcus never would have protected me like that. Something flickered in Dante's eyes. Then maybe you're learning. The cleanup took hours. Men arrived, Dante's people, and removed the bodies with efficient, terrifying precision. They replaced the shattered windows, scrubbed blood from marble floors, removed bullet holes from walls. By dawn, the safe house looked untouched except for the lingering smell of gun smoke. Lena sat in the kitchen, wrapped in a blanket Maria had draped over her shoulders, watching the organized chaos. She couldn't process it, couldn't make it feel real. Drink this, Maria set down a cup of something that smelled like honey and herbs. It'll help with the shaking. Lena's hands were still trembling. She'd watched people die last night. Not on TV, not in movies, in real life, just downstairs from where she'd been hiding. Does it get easier? She heard herself ask. Maria's smile was sad.
No, mia cara.
But you learned to carry it better. How long have you worked for Dante? 23 years. Since he was a boy, Maria sat down across from her. His mother hired me when she got sick. Breast cancer. She wanted someone to look after him when she was gone.
I'm sorry.
Me too. She was a good woman. Better than this world deserved. Maria's eyes grew distant. She made Dante promise to be different from his father. Not softer. She knew that would get him killed, but more careful about who got hurt. That's why he protects civilians. Why he's protecting you. At what cost? Lena gestured to the windows being replaced. How many people died last night because of me? Those men died because they made bad choices. Because they betrayed family. Maria's voice hardened. Don't take that guilt on yourself. Dante would never forgive you for it. Before Lena could respond, Dante appeared in the doorway. He'd changed clothes, the blood-stained shirt gone, replaced by a simple black t-shirt and jeans. Without the suit, he looked younger, more human. Maria, give us a minute. Maria squeezed Lena's hand once before leaving. Dante poured himself coffee and leaned against the counter, studying Lena with those dark, unreadable eyes. You didn't sleep. Could you? After last night? I rarely sleep anyway. He took a long drink. The Salerno family knows about the attack. They've called for a sit-down neutral ground tomorrow night. They want to negotiate. Negotiate what?
Peace.
Carlo's dead, and 4 of their men with him. They're claiming it was a rogue operation, unauthorized. They want to avoid a full war. Do you believe them? No, Dante's expression was grim. But I'll take the meeting anyway. Because war is expensive, messy, and bad for business. If we can settle this with words instead of bodies, I will. Lena absorbed this.
And me?
Am I still a target? That's what I'll be negotiating, he set down his cup. If they agree you're off limits, officially recognized as under my protection, then you're safe. If not, then what? Then I make sure they understand the cost of touching you. His voice went cold. Permanently. The protective intensity in his tone made something flutter in Lena's chest. She pushed it down. You can't start a war over me. I'm not worth that. That's not your decision to make. Dante crossed to her, pulling out a chair and sitting close enough that she could see the exhaustion shadowing his eyes. Last night, when Carlo was outside that room, I realized something. If he'd gotten to you, if I'd been 5 seconds slower, he stopped himself, jaw tightening. You're under my protection now. That means something in my world. It means I'd burn down half the city before I let anyone hurt you.
Why?
Lena's voice cracked. We barely know each other. I'm just some random girl who grabbed your arm at a bar. I don't know, the admission seemed to cost him. But somewhere between that kiss and last night, you stopped being random. You became someone He paused, carefully choosing words. Someone I don't want to lose. The air between them felt charged, dangerous in a completely different way than last night's violence. Lena didn't know how to finish that sentence. I'm not asking for anything, he said quietly. I know this situation is fucked up. I know you're here because you don't have a choice. But I need you to understand. I'm not your ex. I'm not trying to control you or own you. I'm trying to keep you alive long enough to get your life back. And then what? I just walk away? Pretend none of this happened. If that's what you want, his eyes held hers. Yes. Lena wanted to believe him. Wanted to believe that this was temporary, that she could go back to her normal life. But something had shifted last night when she'd held that gun. When she'd watched Dante kill to protect her. When she'd felt his arms around her afterward and realized she felt safer with a criminal than she ever had with Marcus. I want to help, she heard herself say. With the meeting tomorrow. If they're negotiating about me, I should be there. Absolutely not.
Why?
Because it's too dangerous? I think we're past that point. Because these men will see a civilian at the table and assume weakness. They'll push harder, demand more. Dante's expression was firm. I need to negotiate from strength, not what? Not concern for someone. Lena challenged. You just said I matter to you. Don't you think they already know that? Carlo knew. That's why he came after me specifically. Dante was quiet for a long moment. You're right, he admitted finally. They probably do know. But that doesn't mean I'm bringing you into a room full of men who'd kill you for leverage. Then teach me how to survive it. Lena leaned forward. You said I'm not weak. Prove you meant it. Let me be part of the solution instead of just the problem. Something like respect flickered across Dante's face. You're stubborn. So are you. Fine, he stood abruptly. But if you're coming to this meeting, you need to understand the rules. How to sit, what to say, when to stay silent. In that world, every gesture means something. Every word is a negotiation. Then teach me. For the next several hours, Dante did exactly that. He explained the hierarchy of crime families, the protocols of sit-downs, the subtle signals of power and submission. He made her practice sitting still, keeping her expression neutral, responding to provocations without showing emotion. You never look away first, he instructed. But you don't stare aggressively either. You hold eye contact just long enough to show confidence, then return attention to me. You're not challenging them. You're showing that I have your trust. This is exhausting. Welcome to politics with guns. A hint of a smile touched his lips. You're doing well, though. Better than I expected. They broke for lunch. Maria's pasta, eaten at the kitchen table while Dante explained the Salerno family structure. Then more lessons about reading body language, understanding coded phrases, recognizing when violence was about to break out. If I stand up suddenly, you get behind me, Dante said. If I touch my watch, it means danger. Head for the exit. If I use your full name instead of Bella, it means play along with whatever I'm about to say. By evening, Lena's head was spinning with information. But she also felt something else, capable. Like she was learning a language she'd never known existed. They had dinner together, this time in the dining room. Real plates, wine, conversation that wasn't about danger or death. Dante asked about her life before all this. Her job, her friends, her dreams. She found herself talking about the promotion, how hard she'd worked for it, how scared she was that she'd lost it. You haven't, Dante assured her. When this is over, you go back. You keep climbing. You deserve that success, Lena. Don't let my world take it from you. What about you? She asked. If you could do anything else, what would it be? He considered the question seriously. Architecture, maybe. I like the idea of building something that lasts. Something beautiful and useful. Not just, he gestured vaguely. This. It's not too late. You could. Yes, it is, but his tone wasn't bitter, just resigned. Some choices close doors, permanently. I made mine a long time ago. That night, Lena returned to the guest room, but couldn't sleep. She kept replaying the day, the lessons, the conversations, the way Dante had looked at her over dinner, like she was a puzzle he was trying to solve, or maybe a door he was afraid to open. Around midnight, she wandered downstairs and found him in the library, papers spread across the desk. Can't sleep either? She asked. He looked up, surprise crossing his features before he controlled it. Preparing for tomorrow. Making sure I'm ready for every possible angle. Can I help? You've helped enough just by agreeing to come. He gestured to the chair across from him. But if you want to keep me company, I wouldn't mind. Lena sat, and they worked together in comfortable silence, him reviewing documents, her reading the book she'd never finished. Outside, the city slept. Inside, something warm and dangerous continued growing between them. Neither acknowledged it, but both felt it. The morning of the meeting arrived with gray skies and tension thick enough to choke on. Lena dressed carefully in clothes Maria had provided. A dark navy dress, professional but not submissive, paired with low heels she could run in if necessary. You look strong, Maria approved, adjusting the collar. Not a victim. That's good. Dante appeared in a three-piece charcoal suit, all sharp lines and controlled power. He gave Lena a once-over, something unreadable flickering in his eyes. Ready? He asked. No, Lena admitted. But let's go anyway. They had hours before the meeting. Dante spent the morning making calls, coordinating with his people, ensuring every contingency was covered. Lena tried to stay out of the way, finally retreating to the garden for air. The space was beautiful, hedges trimmed precisely, a fountain bubbling in the center, roses blooming despite the late season. She sat on a stone bench, trying to calm her racing heart. Pretty, isn't it? A man's voice came from behind her.
Lena Spoon.
One of Dante's men. She'd seen him last night during the cleanup. Older, maybe 50, with graying hair and cold eyes. He wore a suit similar to Dante's, but somehow looked less comfortable in it. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name last night, Lena said carefully, remembering Dante's lessons about respect and hierarchy. Vincent. I'm Dante's tactical advisor, he smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Mind if I join you? Everything in Lena's gut screamed danger. but refusing would be rude. Of course. Vincent sat, leaving careful space between them. Big day. You nervous about the meeting? Terrified, Lena admitted honestly. Don't be. Dante knows what he's doing. Vincent pulled out a cigarette, lit it. Though I'll admit, I was surprised when he said you'd be coming. Not his usual style. He thought it was important they see I'm not a prisoner. Smart. Vincent took a long drag. You know, you're not what I expected. When Carlo first reported that Dante had taken a civilian under protection, we all assumed it was strategic. But watching you 2-inch, he shook his head. He actually cares. That's dangerous for a man in his position. Lena wasn't sure how to respond to that. Carlo was right about one thing, Vincent continued, almost conversationally. Dante's too soft. His father would never have let emotion compromise business. But Dante? He's making decisions based on, he gestured at Lena, feelings. It makes him predictable. Vulnerable. The way he said it made Lena's skin crawl. I should get back inside. In a minute, Vincent's hand shot out, gripping her wrist. Not hard enough to hurt, but firm enough to keep her seated. I need you to understand something. Today's meeting? It's not going to go the way Dante thinks. What are you? The Salernos aren't interested in peace. They're interested in power. And they've got someone on the inside feeding them everything they need to know. His grip tightened slightly. Carlo wasn't working alone, Miss Martinez. He was just the loudest piece. The most obvious betrayal. Horror dawned cold and sharp. You. Me. Vincent's smile was all teeth now. And 3 others. Dante's so focused on external threats, he never looked at his inner circle. Never questioned why the Salernos always seemed one step ahead. Why are you telling me this? Lena's mind raced, remembering Dante's lessons.
Stay calm.
Show no fear. Look for escape routes. Because your leverage. Vincent released her wrist and stood, towering over her. At today's meeting, the Salernos will make their move. They'll demand Dante step down, turn over his operations, disappear. And when he refuses, because of course he'll refuse, they'll kill him. Quick, clean, in front of witnesses so no one questions what happened. You're insane. Dante's men will. Dante's men will follow the new leadership. Me. Vincent stubbed out his cigarette. The family respects strength. Once Dante's gone, I step up. The Salernos get access to our waterfront operations, I get control of everything else. Everyone wins. Except Dante. And me. Lena asked quietly. You're the reason Dante will walk into the trap, without suspecting. He's too busy protecting you to see what's really happening. Vincent leaned down, his face inches from hers. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to go to that meeting, sit pretty and watch. And when it's over, you're going to forget this conversation ever happened. Because if you warn him, if you try to help him, I'll make sure you suffer in ways that make last night look gentle. Understand? Lena's heart pounded so hard she thought it might explode. But she kept her expression neutral, remembered Dante's lessons about showing strength. I understand. Good girl. Vincent straightened. See you at the meeting, Miss Martinez. He walked away, leaving Lena shaking on the bench. She had to warn Dante. But how? Vincent would be watching her every second now. If she said anything, if she gave any sign that she knew. Lena stood on trembling legs and walked slowly back toward the house, her mind working frantically. Every window could have eyes behind it. Every shadow could be Vincent's people. She found Dante in his study, reviewing documents one final time. Everything okay? He looked up, immediately reading something in her expression. What happened? Lena glanced at the door. Open. Anyone could be listening. She crossed to Dante, leaned close like she was going to kiss his cheek, and whispered directly in his ear. Vincent. He's working with the Salernos. It's a trap. The meeting is an ambush. Dante went absolutely still. For 3 seconds he didn't move, didn't breathe. Then, loud enough for anyone listening to hear. You're nervous about tonight. That's natural. Come here. He pulled her into his arms, speaking normally while his hand traced words on her back. Old code, maybe, or just reassurance. To anyone watching, it looked like he was comforting her. against her ear, barely audible. How do you know? He told me. In the garden. He wanted me to watch you die. Dante's arms tightened fractionally. How many others? 3 more. He didn't say who. Fuck, the whispered curse was vicious. Then louder. I know this is scary, but I promise you'll be safe tonight. I won't let anything happen to you. The performance was perfect, but Lena felt his heart hammering against her cheek, felt the tension coiled in every muscle. He pulled back, cupping her face and looking into her eyes. To anyone else, it looked tender. But Lena saw the calculation there, the rapid strategizing. Trust me, he said clearly. Then, so quiet she almost missed it. Change of plans. Follow my lead. No matter what happens. Lena nodded. Dante released her and turned to his desk, pulling out his phone. Marco, get everyone together. Meeting in 10 minutes. Conference room a pause. Yes, everyone. Including Vincent. He hung up and looked at Lena, something fierce and protective blazing in his eyes. You just saved my life, he said quietly. Now I'm going to save yours. But it's going to get dangerous before it gets better. It's already dangerous. Bella, his hand found hers, squeezed once. What comes next makes last night look like a rehearsal. But I need you to be strong.
Can you do that?
Lena thought about Marcus, about the restraining order she'd never filed, about spending 3 years being controlled, manipulated, made small, about the woman she'd been who would have hidden and hoped someone else would save her. That woman was gone. I can be strong, she said firmly. Tell me what you need me to do. Dante's expression shifted into something almost like pride. Come to the meeting. When Vincent makes his move, you get behind me and stay low. After that, he smiled, cold and dangerous. After that, I introduced some traitors to consequences. 10 minutes later, Dante's inner circle gathered in the conference room. Vincent walked in last, confident and relaxed. He had no idea that the prey had just become the predator. And Lena, watching from her seat beside Dante, felt something dark and satisfied settle in her chest. Let's see how you like being trapped. The meeting location was a luxury hotel on the waterfront, Riverside Grand, all marble columns and crystal chandeliers. Neutral territory, owned by a family with no stake in the conflict. Dante's convoy arrived exactly on time. 3 black SUVs, armed men flanking every exit, Vincent among them playing his role perfectly. Lena's hands were ice-cold despite the warm evening. Dante had spent the past hour making calls, repositioning his people, setting traps Vincent didn't know existed. But walking into the hotel felt like walking into a lion's den anyway. Remember, Dante murmured as they entered. Stay close. When I signal, move. The meeting room was on the top floor, a private conference space with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the river. The Salerno family was already there, 6 men in expensive suits, their own guards positioned strategically. And at the head of the table, Victor Salerno himself, 70 years old, silver-haired, with eyes like chips of ice. Dante, Victor's smile was all predator. Thank you for coming. And you brought your guest. Lena Martinez, Dante's hand rested protectively on her lower back. Since this negotiation concerns her safety, I thought her presence appropriate. How progressive. Victor's gaze slid to Vincent, something unspoken passing between them. Shall we begin? They sat, Dante and Lena on one side, the Salernos across from them. Vincent positioned himself slightly behind Dante, where he could easily reach for a weapon. Lena noticed 3 other men in Dante's group exchanging glances with Vincent. The other traitors. Her stomach twisted. Let's speak plainly, Victor began. Carlo's operation was unauthorized. A tragedy, truly. But it revealed something interesting. You've taken a civilian under protection. That's not like you, Dante. Not practical. Lena was targeted because of her association with me. That makes her my responsibility. Or your weakness. Victor leaned forward. Here's my proposal. You step back from the waterfront operations. Let us manage that territory. In exchange, the girl goes free, unharmed, forgotten. Everyone wins. Everyone except the people who depend on those operations for work. They'll adapt. Or they won't. Victor's expression hardened. The alternative is war, Dante. Messy, expensive, with bodies stacking up on both sides. Is one civilian really worth all that blood? Lena felt every eye in the room turn to her. Dante had taught her this moment. The test, the pressure point. She kept her expression neutral, her posture confident. With respect, Mr. Salerno, Lena said clearly, I'm not the weakness here. I'm the excuse. Victor's eyebrows rose. Excuse for what? For men like Carlo and others to challenge Dante's leadership. To claim he's lost his edge, she met Victor's gaze steadily. But from where I'm sitting, the man who protects instead of sacrifices is stronger, not weaker. Because he doesn't need to prove himself by hurting innocent people. Silence dropped like a stone. Then Victor laughed, genuine surprised. She's got spine. I'll give you that, Dante. But spine doesn't stop bullets. No, Dante agreed. Loyalty does. And that's something you'll never understand, Victor. You buy allegiance. I earn it. Vincent shifted behind them. Lena saw his hand move toward his jacket. It was happening. Actually, Victor said, his smile turning cruel, I think you'll find loyalty is more expensive than you realize. Vincent. Vincent's gun came up, aimed at the back of Dante's head. Everything happened at once. Dante exploded upward, his chair flying backward into Vincent. Lena dropped low as taught. Glass shattered, not from the windows, but from the ceiling. Dante's men rappelled down from the floor above, weapons drawn. Traditory. Dante's voice cut through the chaos. Vincent, Marco's cousin Antonio, Sal, you're done. Gunfire erupted. Victor's guards returned fire. Lena crawled beneath the table, her heart in her throat. She could see Vincent struggling with Dante, their fight brutal and close. One of the traitors aimed at Dante's exposed back. Without thinking, Lena grabbed a fallen chair and swung it hard into the man's legs. He went down, his shot going wild. Dante used the distraction to disarm Vincent, slamming him against the wall. You stupid, greedy bastard, Dante snarled. You threw away everything for what? A bigger piece. For a chance to lead without sentiment. Vincent spat blood. Your father would be ashamed. Dante's fist connected with his jaw. Vincent crumpled. Across the room, Victor was retreating toward the exit with his remaining men. But Dante's people blocked the doors, more than Lena had realized. The entire hotel was surrounded. It's over, Victor. Dante shouted over the gunfire. Your mole is done. Your attack failed. Surrender or die here. You can't kill me. Victor's composure finally cracked. I'm a made man. The commission will. The commission will understand that you violated neutral territory for an ambush. That you tried to murder me during a sanctioned sit-down. Dante's smile was sharp as a blade. You broke the rules, Victor. Not me. Victor's face went ashen as he realized the trap. Dante had known, had prepared, had turned Vincent's betrayal into evidence against the Salernos. Stand down, Victor finally ordered his men. All of you.
Now.
The shooting stopped. In the ringing silence, Lena became aware of her own ragged breathing, the sting of glass cuts on her hands from crawling, the way her entire body shook with adrenaline. Dante crossed to her, pulling her up gently. You okay? I hit someone with a chair. I saw something like pride flickered in his eyes. You saved my life. Again. We're even then. Not even close, Bella. The authorities would arrive soon, the legitimate ones, whom Dante had called before the meeting even started. Vincent and the other traitors were being secured. Victor Salerno looked 20 years older, realizing he'd just lost everything. But then movement at the window. Down.
Marcos shouted.
The window exploded inward. A figure in black dropped through, weapon raised. Not Salerno's people. Someone else entirely. Dante shoved Lena behind him as the shooter fired. The bullet meant for Dante caught him in the shoulder instead, spinning him around.
He went down hard.
Dante! Lena screamed. The shooter advanced, pulling back his mask. Young, maybe 25, with Marcus's eyes. Marcus's brother, the man said coldly. You ruined his life. Took his girl. Made him look weak. Now you pay. He aimed at Dante's head. Lena didn't think. She grabbed Vincent's dropped gun from the floor, thumbed off the safety like Dante had taught her, and fired. The recoil nearly broke her wrist. The bullet hit Marcus's brother in the leg, dropping him before he could fire again. Marco's men swarmed him immediately. Lena dropped the gun, her hands shaking violently, and fell to her knees beside Dante. Blood spread across his white shirt, but he was conscious, breathing hard. That's 3 times, he managed, his voice strained. You've saved me 3 times now. Shut up, tears burned her eyes. You're not allowed to die. You promised. Not dying.
Just.
Hurts like hell, he tried to smile. You're a terrible shot, by the way. Aimed for center mass, hit his leg. I was aiming for his leg, you idiot. She pressed her hands against his shoulder, trying to stop the bleeding. I'm not a killer. Could have fooled me. His hand found hers, blood slicked but warm. Thank you, Lena. For everything. Sirens wailed in the distance. Help was coming. But Lena couldn't stop staring at the blood on her hands. Dante's blood, because of her. Because she'd grabbed his arm at a bar. Because Marcus's obsession had infected even his family. This has to end, she whispered. All of it. I can't. People can't keep dying because of me. They're not dying because of you. Dante's grip tightened on her hand. They're dying because they made bad choices. You made good ones. You survived. That's what matters. Paramedics rushed in. They tried to separate Lena from Dante, but he wouldn't release her hand. She comes with me, he ordered.
Non negotiable.
In the ambulance, racing through city streets, Lena held Dante's hand and realized something terrifying. She didn't want to go back to her old life anymore. Didn't want to pretend this hadn't changed her. She'd killed someone tonight. Or tried to. Had saved Dante's life 3 times. Had walked into a mafia summit and held her own. She was different now. Forever marked by violence and choice and this dangerous man who looked at her like she was worth burning the world for. And God help her, she was starting to look at him the same way. The hospital was chaos. Police taking statements, FBI agents hovering like vultures, journalists somehow already sniffing for a story. Dante was rushed into surgery. Lena sat in the waiting room, still wearing her blood-stained dress, hands scrubbed clean but still feeling dirty. Detective Sarah Chin appeared within the hour. Miss Martinez, her expression was unreadable. We need to talk. He's still in surgery, Lena said numbly. I'm not here about him. I'm here about you. Sarah sat down, leaving space between them. You discharged a firearm tonight. Shot a man. That's serious, regardless of circumstances. He was going to kill Dante. He already shot him once. Matthew Sterling. Marcus Sterling's younger brother. Sarah pulled out a tablet, showing Lena a mugshot. 2 arrests for assault, restraining order from an ex-girlfriend, history of violent ideation. He posted on social media 2 days ago about protecting family honor. We missed it. Lena's stomach turned. Marcus sent him? We're investigating that now. Marcus claims he had no knowledge of his brother's intentions, but Sarah's expression tightened. The Sterling brothers have a pattern. Matthew does the dirty work. Marcus keeps his hands clean. We're bringing Marcus in for questioning. Good, the word came out harder than Lena intended. The shooting appears justified. Self-defense. Defense of another. But you'll need to make a formal statement. And Miss Martinez, Sarah leaned forward. You walked into a mafia summit tonight. You were present during a shootout between organized crime families. The FBI is very interested in what you saw. I'm not testifying against Dante. Even if it means immunity, protection, a chance to walk away clean from all of this. I'm not testifying against him, Lena repeated firmly. He protected me when no one else could. I'm not repaying that with betrayal. Sarah studied her for a long moment. You've changed. The woman I interviewed 2 weeks ago wouldn't have said that. The woman you interviewed 2 weeks ago hadn't watched people die, hadn't held a gun, hadn't learned that the world isn't as simple as good guys and bad guys. Lena met her gaze steadily. Dante Rossetti is a criminal. I'm not naive about that. But he's not the monster you think he is. And what is he? Lena didn't have an answer for that. Hours later, a surgeon emerged.
He'll be fine.
Bullet missed the major arteries. Clean through and through. He's in recovery now. Relief hit Lena so hard, she nearly collapsed. They let her see him 20 minutes later. Dante lay in the hospital bed, pale but conscious, monitors beeping steadily. His eyes tracked to her the moment she entered. You stayed, he said, voice rough from anesthesia. Where else would I go? Lena pulled a chair close to his bed. How do you feel? Like I got shot. A weak smile touched his lips. But alive, thanks to you. The doctor said you'll recover fully.
Good.
Means I can do this properly. Dante reached for her hand despite the 4 lines. Lena, I'm releasing you for my protection. Officially. Victor Salerno is in custody. Vincent and the traitors are being dealt with. Marcus's brother is arrested, and Marcus himself is under investigation. You're safe now. You can go home. The words should have brought relief. Instead, they felt like a punch to the chest. Oh, Lena managed. I see. I'm giving you your life back. Dante's thumb traced circles on her palm. Everything you've been through, it's over. You can return to work, see your friends, forget any of this happened. I've arranged for the charges from the shooting to disappear. Your record stays clean. It's like you were never involved. Like I was never involved, Lena repeated hollowly. You deserve normalcy, Bella. You deserve a life that doesn't include violence and danger, and… He gestured weakly at himself. Criminals. I never should have pulled you into my world. But now I can give you an exit. What if I don't want an exit? The question hung in the air between them. Dante's expression shifted, surprise, then something deeper, more vulnerable. Don't, he said quietly. Don't stay out of misplaced gratitude or… It's not gratitude, Lena's voice was stronger now. Do you know what Marcus used to say? That I was too weak to make it on my own. That I needed him to guide me, protect me, make decisions for me. I believed him for 3 years. Let him make me small. Lena. But these past 2 weeks, even with all the terror and violence, I felt more like myself than I have in years. I made choices. Hard ones. I saved your life 3 times. I stood in a room full of killers and didn't back down. I pulled a trigger to protect someone She stopped herself. Someone who matters to me. That's not weakness. That's not someone who needs to be protected from herself. No, Dante agreed softly. It's not. You're the strongest person I've met, Lena. Which is exactly why you should leave. Because you deserve better than a life spent looking over your shoulder. Better than me. Shouldn't I get to decide that? I'm trying to do the right thing here. By pushing me away? Lena's eyes burned. I spent 3 years with someone who controlled me by claiming he knew what was best for me. Don't do the same thing, Dante. Don't make my choices for me.
Not now.
Not after everything. Dante was quiet for a long moment, his dark eyes searching hers. If you stay, your life changes forever. No going back to normal. There will always be danger. Always be risk. I can minimize it, but I can't eliminate it. Is that really what you want? I don't know, Lena admitted honestly. But I know I'm not ready to walk away yet. I need time to figure out who I am now, what I want. And I can't do that if you're making the decision for me. How much time? I don't know that either, she squeezed his hand. But I want to be the one who decides. Can you give me that? Dante's expression softened. I can give you whatever you need, Bella. Even if it kills me to let you stay in danger. Then let me stay.
For now.
Until I figure this out. Okay, he brought her hand to his lips, kissing her knuckles gently. But I have one condition. What? When you do make your decision, whether you stay or go, promise me it's what you truly want. Not what you think I want. Not what feels safe or noble. Just what you want for yourself. I promise. They sat in silence, hands linked, both knowing that the hardest part wasn't surviving the violence. It was surviving what came after. The next morning, Dante was discharged against medical advice. His people had arranged for private care at the safe house. Lena helped him to the car, aware of journalists photographing them, of police watching, of a world suddenly very interested in their story. "It's going to get messy," Dante warned. "The media attention, the speculation. Let them speculate." Back at the safe house, Maria fussed over Dante while Lena escaped to the garden. She needed air, space, time to think. Her phone had been returned. Dozens of messages from Jenna, from her boss, from her sister. All asking if she was okay, if the news reports were true, if she needed anything. She'd answer them eventually. But right now, she needed to sit with the biggest question. What did she actually want? The old Lena would have run back to safety, filed the restraining order, thrown herself into work, pretended none of this happened, built walls higher and stronger than before. But the woman who'd walked into that summit? Who'd pulled a trigger without hesitation? Who'd looked at Dante in that hospital bed and felt her heart crack at the thought of walking away? She was someone new. Someone Lena was just beginning to know. "You're thinking too loud." Dante appeared in the garden doorway, one arm in a sling, moving carefully. "I can hear your brain working from inside. You should be resting." "I should be doing a lot of things." He settled onto the bench beside her with a barely suppressed wince. "But I wanted to make sure you're okay. Really okay, not just surviving okay." "I shot someone last night," Lena said quietly. "I keep waiting to fall apart about it. But I just feel numb."
Shock?
"It'll hit later. When it does, I'll be here." "Will you?" She looked at him. "Or are you already planning my exit strategy?" "I'm planning your survival." "There's a difference." Dante's expression was serious. "Lena, I meant what I said. You're free to go. But if you stay, I need you to understand what that means. Not just the danger. That's temporary. But the reality. I'm never leaving this life. Never going straight. This is who I am." "I know."
Do you?
"Because falling for a criminal." "I didn't say I was falling for you. You didn't have to." His smile was sad. "I can read you now, Bella. Better than you think. And that's why I'm trying to protect you from making a mistake." "Maybe it's not a mistake," Lena said softly. "Maybe it's just complicated." "That it is." They sat together as the sun set, both knowing that whatever happened next, they'd already changed each other in ways neither could take back. And somewhere in the city, Marcus Sterling was being interrogated about his brother's attack. The final pieces were falling into place. 3 days passed in careful recovery. Dante healed quickly. Too quickly, according to Maria, who scolded him for refusing to stay in bed. Lena found herself settling into the rhythm of the safe house, helping Maria with meals, reading in the library, occasionally catching Dante watching her with an expression she couldn't quite read. On the 4th day, the news broke. Marcus Sterling had been arrested. Not just for conspiracy in his brother's attack, but for a pattern of harassment, stalking, and intimidation spanning 3 relationships over 5 years. Other women had come forward after seeing Lena's name in the news. Their stories were heartbreakingly similar. "He can't hurt anyone now," Dante said, showing her the article on his tablet. "The DA is pushing for maximum sentencing. He'll be gone for years." Lena should have felt vindicated. Instead, she just felt tired. All those women. All that time. And nobody stopped him until he made the mistake of targeting someone connected to you. "That's not your fault, isn't it? I could have filed that restraining order months ago. Could have reported him properly instead of just blocking his number and hoping he'd go away." "Lena," Dante's voice was firm. "You survived him. That's all that matters. Don't take on guilt for his choices." She wanted to believe him, but the weight of those other women's stories sat heavy in her chest. That afternoon, Detective Chin visited. She looked tired, her professional mask slipping slightly as she sat across from Lena in the library. "The FBI is closing their investigation into the summit incident," Sarah said. "Victor Salerno has agreed to cooperate in exchange for a reduced sentence. Vincent and the others are facing RICO charges."
And you, she paused.
You're officially clear. Self-defense ruling, no charges filed. And Dante? Mr. Rossetti has excellent lawyers. Nothing from that night touches him directly. Sarah's expression was complex. You protected him well, Miss Martinez. Better than any lawyer could have. I protected someone who was protecting me. That's not a crime.
No.
But it is a choice, Sarah leaned forward. I'm here to offer you another choice. The FBI wants you in witness protection. Full relocation, new identity, financial support. A completely fresh start away from all of this. Lena's breath caught.
Why?
The case is closed. Because you're still connected to Dante Rossetti. And that makes you a target for any family that wants to hurt him. Today, it's the Salernos. Tomorrow, it could be someone else, Sarah's voice gentled. You seem like a good person who got caught in bad circumstances. We can give you your life back. The real one. Safe, normal, away from organized crime. I'd have to disappear completely? New name, new city. New everything. It's not easy, but it's safe. And Dante? You'd never see him again, Sarah said it bluntly. That's part of the deal. Clean break, no contact, no looking back. The words hit like a physical blow. Lena sat back, processing. This was it, the real exit Dante had talked about. Not just leaving, but erasing her entire connection to him. To this world. To the person she'd become in these intense, violent, transforming weeks. Can I think about it? Lena asked. You have 48 hours. After that, the offer expires, Sarah stood, leaving a card on the table. Whatever you choose, Miss Martinez, I hope you find peace. After Sarah left, Lena sat alone in the library, staring at the card. Freedom. Safety. A normal life. Everything she'd thought she wanted 2 weeks ago. So, why did the thought of never seeing Dante again make her chest ache? She offered you witness protection. Dante's voice came from the doorway. He'd been listening, of course he had. Yes. You should take it. He moved into the room carefully, his shoulders still healing. It's the smartest choice. The safe 1 inch. You want me to disappear? Lena looked up at him. Just like that. I want you to survive, Dante's voice was raw. I want you to have the life you deserve, career, friends, maybe someday a relationship with someone who doesn't come with a target on his back. I want you to be happy, Lena. Even if that means losing you. And what do you want? For yourself. The question seemed to catch him off guard. Dante was quiet for a long moment, his dark eyes searching hers. I want you to stay, he finally admitted. I want to wake up and find you in my library. I want to argue with you over dinner about whether I'm being too controlling. He stopped himself. But what I want doesn't matter. What's best for you matters. Stop it, Lena stood, crossing to him. Stop deciding what's best for me. Stop trying to be noble and push me away for my own good. I told you. I'm done with men who make my choices for me. This is different. Is it? Or are you just as scared as I am? She searched his face. You said I'm the strongest person you've met. Then trust my strength. Trust that I can make my own decision about this. What if you choose wrong? Then I choose wrong. But at least it's my choice, Lena's voice softened. Dante, for the first time in years, I feel like I'm actually living instead of just surviving. Yes, it's dangerous. Yes, it's complicated. But it's mine. Don't take that away from me. Dante's control finally cracked. He pulled her close with his good arm, his forehead dropping to rest against hers. You're going to drive me insane, Bella. You know that. Probably. She felt his breath against her lips. But you'll survive. Will I? His voice was barely a whisper. Because if something happened to you, if someone hurt you because of me, I don't think I would survive that. Then we'll just have to make sure nothing happens to me. That's not how this world works. Then maybe we change how it works. Lena pulled back slightly to look at him. You said your mother made you promise to be different from your father. To be more careful about who got hurt. What if we build something different together? Not softer. I'm not naive enough to think that's possible, but smarter. More strategic. What if being together actually makes us both stronger? Or it makes us both vulnerable. Maybe vulnerability isn't always weakness. She touched his face gently, careful of his injuries. Maybe sometimes it's just human. Dante caught her hand, pressing a kiss to her palm. 48 hours. That's how long you have to decide. And Lena, I need you to promise me something. What? Don't choose me because you're grateful. Don't choose me because you think you owe me something. Don't even choose me because you're curious about who you've become. His eyes held hers with devastating intensity. If you stay, it has to be because you want this life. Want me, knowing exactly what that means. Can you promise me that? Lena's heart hammered.
Could she?
Did she even know what she wanted yet? I promise, she said quietly. Whatever I choose, it'll be real.
No guilt. No obligación.
Just what I actually want. Good, he released her hand, stepping back, creating distance between them again. Take the 48 hours. Really think about it. Go see your friends, your sister if you want. I'll have my people keep you safe while you figure it out. But I won't influence your decision. This has to be all you. Dante. Please, his voice cracked slightly. If you're going to break my heart, at least let me pretend I gave you up nobly. Despite everything, Lena laughed, short and sharp and slightly hysterical. You're impossible. I'm a criminal, Bella. It comes with the territory. That night, Lena lay awake in the guest room, staring at the ceiling. Two paths stretched before her. Safety or danger, normal or extraordinary, walking away or walking deeper in. Detective Chen's card sat on her nightstand next to Dante's business card from that first night at the bar. Two choices. Two men offering her protection in completely different ways. Two versions of her life stretching into unknown futures. She had 48 hours to choose. And for the first time in her life, she had absolutely no idea what the right answer was. Lena spent the next 2 days living in limbo. Dante kept his promise. He disappeared into business meetings, leaving her space to think. Maria drove her to her old apartment, still under protection but finally able to see her own space again. It looked exactly the same, and completely foreign. The unsigned restraining order still sat on her kitchen counter, a relic from a different lifetime. Lena threw it away. She didn't need it anymore. Jenna came over that evening, bursting through the door with wine and worry. Oh my God, are you okay? The news, the shooting, that insanely hot mob boss. What the actual hell, Lena? They talked for hours. Lena told her everything, or most of everything. The fear, the violence, the impossible situation she'd found herself in. And Dante. She couldn't help but talk about Dante. You're in love with him, Jenna said flatly. Oh, honey, you are so screwed. I'm not, it's complicated. It's complicated because you're in love with him and terrified of what that means. Jenna poured more wine. So, what are you going to do? I don't know. But that was a lie. Deep down, in the part of herself she discovered over these past weeks, she already knew. The next morning, Lena went to her office. Daniel welcomed her back with relief and questions she deflected with practiced ease. Her desk was exactly as she'd left it. Her promotion certificate still hung on the wall. Everything she'd worked for, right there waiting. It felt hollow. She sat in her ergonomic chair, staring at her computer screen and realized this wasn't enough anymore. The safety, the normalcy, the careful career climbing, it felt like wearing someone else's clothes. Like pretending to be the person she'd been before Marcus, before Dante, before she'd learned she was capable of pulling a trigger without hesitation. That woman was gone, and Lena didn't want her back. At noon, she walked to the Thai restaurant where Dante had once protected her from Marcus's watching eyes. She ordered her usual pad thai, extra lime, spring rolls, and sat in the corner booth. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Your 48 hours are almost up. The safe house at 6 p.m. Whatever you decide, I respect it. D. Lena stared at the message for a long time. Then she typed, I'll be there. At exactly 6 p.m., Lena stood outside the safe house door, her heart in her throat. She'd packed a small bag, not everything, not yet, but enough. Enough to say she'd made a choice. Dante opened the door before she could knock. He looked tired, his shoulders still bandaged beneath a simple black shirt, his eyes shadowed with something that looked like grief. "You came," he said quietly. "I came." They stood in the doorway, the weight of her decision hanging between them. "Detective Chin called," Lena said, wondering if I'd made up my mind about witness protection. And Dante's voice was carefully neutral, but she saw his hand tighten on the doorframe. I told her no. Something flashed in his eyes. Hope, fear, both at once. "Lena." "Let me finish," she stepped closer. "I also called my boss. Told him I need to take a leave of absence. Personal reasons." He wasn't happy, but he understood. "You're walking away from your promotion?" "I'm not walking away.
I'm postponing."
There's a difference." Lena took a breath. "I went back to my apartment. Sat in my life for 2 days. Tried to imagine going back to normal dating apps, office politics, pretending none of this changed me. And you know what I realized?" "What?" "I don't want normal. Maybe I never did. Maybe that's why I stayed with Marcus so long, because settling for mediocre felt safer than risking everything for extraordinary." She met his eyes. "But I'm not that scared woman anymore. You helped me become someone braver. Someone who doesn't run from complicated just because it's hard." "This isn't just complicated," Dante said roughly. "This is dangerous. This is a life where people die, where you'll always be looking over your shoulder." "I know," Lena cut him off. "I know exactly what I'm choosing. And I'm choosing it anyway. I'm choosing you. Not because I'm grateful, not because I owe you, but because when I think about my future, I can't imagine one where you're not in it. Is it crazy?
Probably.
Is it risky? Absolutely. But it's what I want. Are you sure?" His voice cracked. "Once you step through this door, everything changes. I can't promise you safety.
I can't promise you easy.
All I can promise is that I'll protect you with everything I have, and I'll never make you feel small." "That's enough." Lena stepped over the threshold. "That's more than enough." Dante pulled her into his arms, carefully because of his shoulder, desperately because of everything else. His face buried in her hair, and she felt him shaking. "You're absolutely insane," he whispered. "So are you. We're going to drive each other crazy." "Probably." Lena pulled back to look at him. "But at least we'll do it together." He kissed her then, not like that first night at the bar, all performance and strategy. This kiss was real, raw, full of relief and promise, and the terrifying vulnerability of two people choosing each other despite every rational reason not to. When they finally broke apart, Dante rested his forehead against hers. "I don't deserve you. Good thing I'm not asking what you deserve. I'm just taking what I want." His laugh was shaky. "What have I created?" "A partner," Lena said firmly. "Not a victim, not a prisoner, not a weakness. A partner."
Can you handle that?
"I guess I'll have to learn." Dante's smile was soft, genuine, transforming his whole face. "Welcome home, Bella." Home. Not the apartment she'd just left. Not the life she'd postponed. But here, in the chaos and danger and impossible love she'd stumbled into when she grabbed a stranger's arm at a bar. "One condition," Lena said. "Anything. When things calm down, when it's safe, I want to go back to work. Maybe not at Riverstone, maybe somewhere else, but I need to keep being me. Not just the woman in your life." "Deal." Dante kissed her forehead. "I don't want you to lose yourself. I fell for you because of who you are, not who you could become for me." "Good answer." Maria appeared in the hallway, beaming. "Finally. I was beginning to think you'd both be too stubborn. Dinner is ready. And Miss Lena, I prepared your old room." Unless, she glanced between them meaningfully. Dante actually blushed. "Maria, I'm just saying you're both adults, you've been through trauma together. These things happen. We'll figure out the sleeping arrangements ourselves. Thank you," Dante said firmly, but his hand found Lena's and squeezed. Over dinner, Maria's incredible cooking, wine that probably cost more than Lena's monthly rent, conversation that flowed easily. Lena watched Dante laugh at something Maria said. saw the way the weight had lifted from his shoulders, realized that she'd done that. Her choice had freed something in him, just as his protection had freed something in her. They were both different now, both transformed by violence and choice and the strange alchemy of two people finding each other at exactly the wrong right time. After dinner, they sat in the garden as the sun set, Dante's good arm around her shoulders, her head resting against his chest. "No regrets?" he asked quietly. "Not yet," Lena said honestly. "Ask me again in a month." "Fair enough," he pressed a kiss to her hair.
Thank you, Bella.
"For choosing me. For choosing this. For being brave enough to want something extraordinary. Thank you for teaching me I could be." They sat in comfortable silence as darkness fell, two people who'd found each other in chaos and decided that together was worth the risk. Somewhere in the city, Marcus Sterling sat in a jail cell, his obsession finally ended. Somewhere else, the remnants of the Salerno family regrouped and plotted. Somewhere beyond it all, Lena's normal life waited, patient, safe, unchanged. But here, in this garden, in this dangerous man's arms, Lena felt something she hadn't felt in years, completely, impossibly, terrifyingly alive. And that was worth every risk. That was worth everything. The end.